So today I will talk about places to live. There are many different places to live, not just, one word, house, but there's a lot kind of homes. Let's see different kinds of places to live in life, in daily life, and see if you can find the kind of place to live that you're living in. Well, let's start. Okay. First one we have is house. House is just kind of like a special kind of place to live that we use, that usually we build ourselves. It's usually just usual. It's not really big, it's just a usual size house. It's not really big and kind of like usually used for people that are not too rich but also not too poor. Those people, they would have enough money to make or to build a house. Next is townhouse. Townhouse is a special type of house that can be used by the whole town. Yeah, that's right. So that's townhouse. Next we have is apartment. Apartment is just kind of like a really big house that have a lot of rooms. Like what I get. A really big house here. Let's see. There you go. You can understand it as like this. Here we have is a really big house. That's right? Yeah, and it will be divided into some parts with a lot of rooms inside. But those rooms are now kind of like this room is the living room, this room is the bathroom, this is the bathroom. No, but in each kind of room like this one, there's gonna be anything that is included in the house. Like it can be kind of, the bathroom, the bedroom, the kitchen, the living room. Yeah, there's full of that inside this. Apartments not just some really big house that have a lot of rooms, that have usual rooms, but those rooms are really big. That includes nearly everything in the house. So those are apartments. Next is condominium. Condominium is a kind of house that is a little bit kind of an apartment, but it's different. An apartment, I will go on the whiteboard here. Okay, here is an apartment, okay? Apartment is house, in just one floor. There's a lot of room. So that people, when and there will be a hall between those rooms, right? Of course. And people, when they go out of their house, they would meet each other. They would meet each other in the hall there. So that's the kind of apartment. Can you understand? But the condominium is different. Just kind of like thinking about that the condominium place to live is bigger and just one floor like this, is one house. It has not been divided, but one floor is equals to one house. If the condominium have 5 floors, there's gonna be usually 5 rooms. Yeah, that's right. So just things like that. And remember to identify them because if you can't identify them, that'd be really bad while using those words. Okay? That's perfect. Well, let's see next one. We have is bungalow. Bungalow is a kind of house that have one floor, like it, and it's usually made of wood, like a house like this. Just kind of a usual wood house. Yeah, but it's gonna have a floor down like this. As you know, as it's sand, yeah, there's usually gonna be a ladder there for people to climb up or down the house. Yeah. So that's the house, okay? My drawing is really bad, so maybe I think you can understand. Yeah, next we have is cottage. Cottage is a special type of house that usually you see those cottages in the jungle or in the forest where people live there. Yeah, that's right. You usually see cottage because especially cottage are really small kind of houses. So they need. So when they are in those places, they can be thin enough. Like if all around there's a lot of there's a lot and a lot of animals and plants. So the cottage needs to be really small to fit in that. If it's big like some kind of townhouse or apartment, how can it be fixed right into it? Next is hotel. It's a kind of house that people use. It's just kinda like a condominium mixed up with an apartment. Yes, right. So a hotel is kind of like a special type of house that's just used for people who want to stay there for some days or maybe just one night or one day. So that's his hotel. Those are the houses that wouldn't be used for too much. People that go to those hotels usually would just kind of like used to stay there when they don't have a home for a short time, for a short period of time. That's hotel. Next we have is tent. Tent is a special things that's usually really small. It's just used for people to stay for one night or maybe one morning or one afternoon. They usually use for people who go out to camping or something like that. Yeah, then that's tent. Next is caravan. Caravan is a kind of house that is inside the truck. Yeah, that's caravan. Next is stately home or mansion. Mansion is a special kind of home that's usually used for really rich people who have enough money to buy. And you usually see there's usually more than 10 rooms in the mansion. Kind of like an example, like the White House is a small example of the mansions. There's a lot of mansions around the world. They're usually used by the people who have a really big business or they're really famous or rich. Then people would buy a mansion. Yeah, next is brick house. is the house that have the walls as bricks, and those walls wouldn't be putting on pieces of walls like this, or they wouldn't be covered or painted on. Those are bricks house. Maybe you're asking, okay, all walls in this usual house is just brick. But yeah, sometimes it's brick, sometimes it's another. But if the house is made of brick, I'm sure that is correct. But it has been, kind of like paint on, or it will be putting on some pieces of walls like this, so that the kind of usual house. But brick house is the house that's 100% house of bricks, and there will be no paintings, no walls covering it up. Yeah, that's brick house. Next is stone house. Those are those house who just kind of like a brick, but all of its things are made out of stone. Yeah. Next is ranch house. This is the house that's usually made out from coconut leaves or banana tree leaves. Yeah, those are ranch house. Next is desert tents. Those are the tents that people make on the desert. Castle. Castle is usually used for princesses, prince, queens, and kings. So usual people wouldn't think about a castle as the place to live. Yeah, but just usually really rich people. No, not just rich people, but people that kind of like in their king's homes or the king's families. Yeah. But usually when I go out, sometimes I can see some houses being built that look like a small castle. But castles really was a big thing. Yeah, well that's places to live. You see that from this lessons, you have known that not just your house is a place to live. There's a lot of more places to live that you haven't discovered. Well, see you next time. Have a nice day.